Anything about the victims at this point other than 2 of them were crew members and there were 8 passengers on board. All of them were headed towards St. Petersburg. This type of plane was a Beechcraft Super King Air 350, which is probably the type of jet that you think of when you think about a private jet. CNN safety analyst David Susi says this jet is incredibly reliable. It has a good safety record as well. As for a black box inside of that aircraft, if it was used as a charter, it should have a black box. It's required to have one, but if it was used simply for private use, it may not have one. So the investigation is continuing. They expect a preliminary report out in the next 2 weeks, Jim.
Scott McLean, good to have you on the story. Thanks very much. Closing arguments are expected to begin in just a few hours in the court-martial of a decorated Navy SEAL accused of war crimes, including murder. Eddie Gallagher is accused of stabbing an injured ISIS fighter to death while deployed in Iraq in 2017 and of pressuring fellow Navy SEALs not to turn him in. If convicted, he could face life in prison. Nick has been following the trial from San Diego. Of course, the key issue here was that there was a witness who claimed that he actually delivered the fatal blow as a sort of mercy killing here. How is this likely to affect the case?
Well, it could totally blow this case apart, Jim. As you mentioned, listen, we had heard 2 SEALs take the stand and say that they saw Eddie Gallagher stab this young ISIS detainee in the throat. And then this other SEAL who was testifying under immunity got on the stand and said, Eddie Gallagher didn't kill him. I did. I put my finger over his trach tube to kill him because I knew he was going to die and I didn't want to leave him behind where he might be tortured by more troops from not the U.S. side, but Iraqi troops coming through. And listen, this has been a very hard case to prosecute, partly because it happened in a war zone. And as the forensic pathologist said, you know, he couldn't even determine a cause of death because there's no body. There's no autopsy. Now, Jim, even if Eddie Gallagher is convicted, there is a good chance the president might pardon him. The president has hinted at that. He said, listen, we train these people to kill, and then sometimes we treat them very unfairly. Jim?
Well, soldiers have to follow the law as well. Nick Watt, thanks very much. International outcry as commercial whale hunting resumes in Japan, this for the first time in 30 years.